Here we go. They drop the puck. Send the Leafs end. They get it back out to center. Leafs get it into the Flyer zone. Domi and McMahon battling for it. Matthews keeps it in. Over to Domi. Try Stetcher. Domi. Oh. Stetcher has it back in the Leafs end. Up to Michelli. Back into the Flyers end. Leafs are forechecking. Pretty good. They're keeping it in. That got a Flyer defenseman in the face there. Got clipped. The puck. Leafs have got off to not a bad start. Cam York for the Flyers went down the tunnel. He got that puck in the face. Looked like he just probably just got a cut or something. The Flyers iced the puck. Oh yeah, got right in the chin. Hi. I decided that at about 6:30 I decided to try doing this again. So I don't know, kind of partly for practice too, and also because I got a new light and wanted to try out. I remember you said you're going to the game on Saturday, huh? Against Vancouver. The Leafs started off pretty good. They have the pressure on. They had some pressure on. I don't know why they have the Leafs as no shots on goal. I'm sure that shot by Domi was on goal. Got the goalie right in the shoulder. Thanks for going in the chat again. It's on a weeknight. I don't know how many people, but I figured I'll just do it and whatever happens, happens. Yeah, Matthews are playing great. He's back to his old self. It's hard to know how, like, if the Leafs should still, I hate to see them trade more away. Well, there's not many prospects left, but I don't think they would trade Cowan. But there was a rumor yesterday that Easton Cowan could be part of a deal to get Jason Robertson. Well, hi, Ice Attack. And Ice Attack, I think, and you know a Leafs fan. I remember in the comments. Yeah, there was on Leafs Digest. I think that's where I saw it. They were talking about there's a rumor that the Leafs might be willing to give up Easton Cowan and for Jason Robertson. Like not like Cowan and some other pieces too. But I don't know. It's hard to really know. If the Leafs start doing stuff like that, it means that they're still all in. Like to do it to win this year. I guess you both appear like in the comments or I guess other chats. The Leafs have got off to a pretty good start. Oh, that line of Cowan, Robertson, and Raw, it's been fantastic. Yeah, it would be scary to give up because they already gave up Fraser Minton and this year's first pick overall, yeah, they've given up 2 first-round picks, Minton. I don't know. And like Brandon Carlo, like he seemed pretty good last year, but then I guess this year he was injured and now he's back. And Morgan Riley said today that he loves playing with Brandon Carlo. That he makes Riley a much better defenseman. Like Morgan Riley said that. Like, I don't know. He didn't say it exactly like that, but basically that's what he said. So, thing is like if Riley's like a true star defenseman, he should be making the other defensemen better. I've never tried that. I don't know that Discord. So many people I've heard of Discord and all that, and so many people mention it. Like on YouTube, I've heard so many people mention it, but I don't know what it is even. Yeah, yeah, Carlo. Hopefully now he's back. Hopefully that was what was wrong at the start of the year was that injury that he got fixed. Otherwise, it's going to look pretty bad if the Bruins get a high draft pick, and Fraser Minton. Hildeby is playing fantastic. Like last year, I wasn't too sure about if he was going to actually because the Leafs figured he was the future or whatever. Watching him last year, I wasn't too sure, but this year probably is. But I think if Stollers comes back, who knows if he does? But if Stollers comes back, I think Hildeby will wind up with the Marlies again. Because I think if going to the playoffs, if Stollers is healthy, I think they'll go with Wall and Stollers. Yeah, last year Hildeby stank. Scott Laughton's back in Philadelphia. This is, I think this is his first game back in Philadelphia because he was injured the last time. The last time the Leafs were there. He had a fantastic game. The last game, Scott Laughton. When he got pushed into the boards, that really lit a fire on him. If the Leafs play the Panthers again in the playoffs this year, the Leafs are going to win for sure. I just know it. I think the Leafs are going to go on a deep playoff run. Yeah. Yeah, Laughton was also a first round pick, and was that a first round pick in Gulbenkian? I don't remember. Is that where Gulbenkian went? I think it was for Laughton. They've given up a ton for players that are really good, but potentially players that could be stars. And Gulbenkian, he had a lot of character. He was a funny guy. Forecheck, back check, paycheck. I saw a YouTube video, like some fans out in front of Scotiabank Arena saw him. And he's like joking around with the fans. But I think I heard later the Leafs weren't too happy about it. Like they didn't want him like out there joking around with the fans like that. Matthews will be a free agent. Next time the Leafs have a first round pick. Oh man. So that's in 2 years, yeah. But Connor McDavid will be a free agent too. Yeah, I watched when they lost to Czechia, but I couldn't. I didn't bother watching the one against Finland. The Czechia one was so disappointing. I don't know. It's just I had a feeling like you could kind of tell where it almost reminded me of the Leafs and the Panthers, where like last year in the playoffs, where the Leafs couldn't get out of their own zone, and they kept like everything they were kept giving the puck away, and the Panthers kept keeping it in. That's what this was, and no pressure in the other team's end. Yeah, McDavid coming to the Leafs would be fantastic. And he grew up a Leafs fan. Well, he played for the Toronto Marlboros. I call it Toronto Marlboros, I try not to call them the Toronto Marlies because I don't want people to confuse them with the Leafs farm team. Yeah, Tavares. I don't know. Like at the start of the year, he played so good, but then now his age is starting to show. Like with him, the effort is always there. Like oh, sometimes some of the players, like they're not playing that great, and it looks like the effort isn't there with him. Even when he's not playing great, the effort is there. Austin Matthews, I didn't see what happened to his foot. I don't, I don't know. I don't know if that is something, that same lingering whatever is wrong with him, or if it just happened. He's injury prone. Because I remember near the start of these earbuds drive me nuts. They always keep having to they keep pushing them in. But he had those two like both shoulders. He had issues with the first couple of years. I remember, and then he had that wrist issue about a year or two after that. And then I don't know if he had a back. I think he might have had a back issue or something after that when he wasn't. He got injured, and he wasn't the same again for a while after. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. The guy in Dallas cross-checked him in the ribs. Yeah, he's injury prone. But I but they said last week in the same amount of games, he's he what like whatever goals he's at, he did it in less games than Ovechkin. The amount of goals that he's at now, he still did it in 3 less games or something than Ovechkin did. Oh, okay. Thank you for being in the chat. Yeah, like on a weeknight, I don't know how many people are gonna. And I'm not that good at doing this. I don't know if I should keep doing it or not. I'm not very good at this live chat stuff. But I kind of like doing it though. Like as far as enjoying it, I kind of enjoy it. I'm just not very good at it. You know. At least I could say it's something I did for a while. I, you know, tried streaming a few times. I guess I could keep at it and see if I get better at it. I don't know, like just do it every once in a while. Makes me appreciate, like Steve Dangle and all these guys. And there's other guy, Sam Webb. I don't know if you've ever seen Sam Webb. He's really good at doing those live streams. And Hot Take Hockey, he's good at live streams. Yeah, I know. I remember you said you're going to the Leafs versus Canucks game. I figured you wouldn't be able to do that on Saturday. I probably won't bother like doing it so soon again. And maybe I should just stick to Saturdays or something. It'll be a bit busier. Like not next Saturday, but maybe after that. Get a few more people in the streams. What's it? I'm up to 7 views. The last stream I was up to the Marner return game. That's the 23rd. Maybe see. I'll have to see how it, how I feel or whatever. It's possible. Well, and then next week, it's going to be late games too. There's going to be like 10 o'clock. I don't remember if there's a 10:30 one, but it's at least a couple 10 o'clock ones next week. So that's, probably won't get anybody in the chat watching. Oh, it's on a Friday. The 23rd's on a Friday night? I think it's the 23rd. Oh, if it's on a Friday night, get some. Yeah, it's possible then. Yeah. I think the last stream, because I looked at the like analytics after, and I had up to 6 people watching. Like at one, that was the peak. 6 people watching at one time, and the average was 3. I was averaging 3 people watching the whole time. Yeah, that should be good on a Friday night. Yeah, it's possible then. Like sometimes I have to see how I feel too. Like if I don't know, you have to feel like sitting and just talking, which oh, there goes Matthews. Oh yeah, he's back out there playing pretty good. The last time I posted that I was going to do the Leafs game, and so now I didn't bother posting or anything. I just so maybe it doesn't show up like in people. Maybe it's not showing up in people's like home feed. Like should show up if people have notifications turned on. It should show up. But I guess like people are busy. It's a weeknight and all that. Like I'm an old guy, retired, so oh yeah. And well, they had in the 1970s. They had a brutal rivalry. It was back then. It was more intense than what happens now between the Leafs and Florida, because I'm sure you've seen the movie Slapshot and all that. Like things were pretty wild back in the 70s. So yeah, so like the Leafs and Flyers in the playoffs, there was back, so, and then they kind of had. They didn't really have. They played the Flyers. I think the last in 2004, like when everybody was saying, "Oh, like the Leafs haven't won," or was it 2003 or 2000, whatever year that was, 2000. Oh, now I 2002. Yeah, I think it was 2002 when the Leafs beat Ottawa, and that was like their last first round win up until they beat Tampa a couple of years ago. But after they beat uh, Ottawa, they lost to Philadelphia. So that loss to Philadelphia was like ended that. Like they beat Ottawa, and then they lost to Philadelphia, and then they didn't win another playoff series till Tampa a couple of years ago. Was that the first round, 04? Or was 04, man, my memory is going bad. Like when the last time they beat Ottawa, I guess it was maybe 04 then, and then they played the Flyers. Like when they beat, like in the Battle of Ontario. Yeah. Yeah, and then the Leafs didn't win the first round again until Tampa. I remember when the Leafs played the Flyers. That was the one where they had like a two-man advantage, and the Flyers were two men short and scored two men short. Like the Leafs were sort of started to go downhill a bit. And then when they came back after the lockout, the 2004-2005 lockout, that's when they weren't good, and then it was like 10 years of stinking. Yeah, I think the Leafs are going to get in the playoffs. And I think I think they're gonna win at least a couple rounds. And who knows? Once they get on a roll, because everybody, when the team is playing bad, so everybody thinks they're so bad. But once everything gets on a roll and the fans get behind them, I could see the Leafs going, because weird things happen, like when St. Louis won in 2019. Like everybody thought they stank. And then all of a sudden they caught fire, and and even when they got into playoffs, like people didn't think they were going to go on a run like that. Yeah, he played for Philadelphia. He lives in Philadelphia. Like he actually, his family still lives in Philadelphia. His wife and kids. He still has like wife and kids that in Philadelphia because he talks. He mentions them every once in a while. So he just comes to Toronto, like during the season. Then he goes back to Philadelphia in the summers. So that's probably where he's going to retire to. He played for Philadelphia too. He was one of the best fighters in the league. He was a scary player. Him and Ty Domi. I always find that funny because he got in lots of fights with Max Domi's father. Yeah, he mentions Alberta too, so I don't know how, but he's talked about his wife and kids living in Philadelphia. Or I think so. His wife lives in Philadelphia. I think that's what I heard. Like I could be wrong, but that's what I think I remember. All this stuff, like when I'm talking to people in the comments. So in the comments, I'll check. Like I'll Google it just to make sure that I don't make mistakes. But when I'm like this, then everybody sees that I'm not really not really an encyclopedia. At least an encyclopedia. I'm not as sharp as I once was. I used to tell people I'm a hockey encyclopedia or a Leafs encyclopedia. He was in the trade. He was in the trade that brought Doug Gilmour to the Leafs, but that was like a huge trade. Like you don't see too many the amount of players that were in that trade. it was like I think the Leafs sent like about 4 or 5 players to Calgary, and Calgary sent about 3 or 4 players to the Leafs. It was a massive trade. Cliff Fletcher, we had the nickname Trader Cliff. He wasn't scared to make trades. He traded Wendell Clark, the Quebec Nordiques, for Matt Sundin. And Matt Sundin was a young player, and a lot of Leafs fans weren't happy. Like Wendell Clark had just had a 40-goal season. Yeah, probably the Doug Gilmour one, but Sundin is close. And a lot of people weren't happy about that Sundin trade because they didn't want, because Wendell Clark was so popular. But it was only like about a year and a half later or something like that where Cliff Fletcher still managed to get Wendell Clark back. Got him. So he wound up coming back to the Leafs anyway. Yeah. But then after the lockout, the Leafs weren't playing that great, and then Cliff Fletcher wound up getting fired. But that's when they brought in the salary cap in 2005, and I think that was a big part of like the Leafs could never get used to the salary cap because they would make so many mistakes and so many bad draft choices that they could just try to spend their way out of everything. I wish Harold Ballard tried to spend his way out of that was the only time that the Leafs was the opposite was true. Like Harold Ballard let everybody go to the WHA and like so many good players and they could have been a dynasty in the '70s, just like Montreal was a dynasty in the '70s. The Leafs could have done the same thing if it wasn't for Harold Ballard, because they had so many good players that wound up on other teams because Harold Ballard didn't want to pay them, or he had like some grudge with them, or uh, personally, I think maybe the second best because I was always a fan of oh, now I forgot it. Jerry McNamara. He's the guy that built the Leafs. Uh, I'm gonna look that. Hopefully, I don't. This doesn't cut me off. I'm gonna look something up, make sure. Uh, 'cause I think I might have mixed them up. Oh yeah, that's not the guy. Jim Gregory. Oh man, Jim Gregory. I don't know what's going on lately. I've really been absent-minded. Yeah, Jim Gregory. He was the guy that put together. Like he got Sittler and Salming and McDonald. Like he put together that team, and but then the Harold Ballard didn't because he wouldn't listen to Harold Ballard. Like he wanted to do things because he was building a good team, but Harold Ballard didn't like the team he was building, and he kept blaming him because Harold Ballard let all these players go to the WHA and all that, and and they would lose to Montreal in the playoffs, and then he would blame Jim Gregory. But considering that Harold Ballard was the owner, Jim Gregory built a fantastic team. And then he wound up firing Jim Gregory in 1979, like right after New Year's, 1979, and fired Jim Gregory and Coach Roger Nielsen, and wound up bringing back an over-the-hill Punch Imlach. And Punch Imlach just destroyed the team. Like he didn't know what he was doing. And then that led to the 1980s where the Leafs went through, just through the 1980s, they went through about 3 or 4 general managers and about 10 coaches during the 1980s. And the team stank. The only reason why the Leafs were making the playoffs in the 1980s, so there's some pretty good highlight, stuff, because the Leafs were in the playoffs in the 1980s. The only reason why they got into the playoffs in the 1980s is because the Norris division, all the teams were bad. It was like all the worst teams in the league were in the Norris division. So that's the only reason why the Leafs were making the playoffs. Like the Norris division was Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and can't remember who else. They were all bad. So the Leafs are making the playoffs. Oh yeah, Boris Salming. It's a shame that he's only talked about by Leafs fans. Like he deserves to be talked about when they talk, because you hear people talk about like Paul Coffey and like all these old like time defensemen, great defensemen, Larry Robinson and Dennis Potvin and all that, but he gets forgotten. I could see where Bobby Orr, like he is in a category by himself. But Boris Salming gets forgotten. But Leafs fans, he's a hero. I don't think he's not underrated by Leafs fans. He's a hero for Leafs, like as far as Leafs fans go. I used to think like a few years ago, I would I almost put Morgan Riley in the same, not like Boreas Salmon obviously, but I mean like as far as top defensemen of all time, or like top some of the top defensemen, like I would say like Tim Horton, Boreas Salmon, Thomas Kaberle, and then Morgan Riley, like Boreas Salmon first, and then Tim Horton, and then Thomas Kaberle, and then I think I would say I would have put Morgan Riley as the Leafs' fourth best all-time defenseman. Like maybe Ian Turnbull would be fourth. Like Ian Turnbull, he really gets forgotten because he played same time as Boreas Salmon. I think so too. I think unless they've already unless they're gonna like like Rogers, like if they're okay with a bit of a rebuild, so then maybe they would keep him. But I don't think even if they are into a bit of a rebuild, I don't think Treliving would be the guy that they would want to rebuild the team if he kind of let this one go downhill like that. Yeah, Lanny McDonald should have been a Leaf for life. And Dave Keon. Dave Keon called, Harold Ballard called Dave Keon something like over the hill and washed up. And then he went elsewhere and was still playing fantastic. And he said he wasn't going to pay Dave Keon what he wanted to get paid. And then he had like a different kind of system then, like the Leafs, like even when Keon was a free agent, the Leafs still owned his NHL rights, the way it worked back then. So Keon wanted to go to the Islanders. And Harold Ballard didn't, but Harold Ballard didn't want Keon back. But he wouldn't let him go to the Islanders either. He basically forced him to go to the WHA. I think he went to Indianapolis or something, but then he wound up in Hartford. I think it was like in Hartford they had like Gordie Howe, Dave Keon. I think Gordie Howe's sons were there. Yeah, they should. Yeah, Lanny McDonald didn't want to go. And Darryl Sittler was so mad. They say that because they did it because Darryl Sittler refused to waive his no trade contract. So they traded Lanny McDonald just to bug Darryl Sittler. And they said that Darryl Sittler was so mad that he ripped the C off in the dressing room. He just ripped the C off his jersey. And they traded him to they traded McDonald to the Colorado Rockies. Traded him to the Colorado Rockies. And then he wound up in Calgary. People I don't know that how many people realize there was because now there's a Colorado Avalanche, which are the Quebec Nordiques. The Colorado Rockies. I can't remember where they didn't fold. I'm trying to remember where they moved. Can't remember if that's who moved to New Jersey, because New Jersey, I think, was a team that moved. Can't remember if they were the Colorado Rockies, maybe. I don't remember. So many teams moved at one time. Cleveland had a team, the Cleveland Barons. Atlanta's had two teams. Every time Atlanta gets a team, the team winds up moving to Canada. Maybe if they get a third team, we get another team in Canada, because the Atlanta Flames moved to Calgary, became the Calgary Flames. The Atlanta Thrashers moved to Winnipeg, and so the Winnipeg Jets were back after the original Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix. Yeah, I think I heard that Morgan Riley might have been right up there in, like, if he doesn't get traded, because I think George Armstrong is still probably has that record, the most games but in Leafs history, but like as played as a Leaf. I think Morgan Riley, they said, is approaching that or something, because for some reason the Leafs never keep anybody. Yeah. Oh no. The Flyers just scored. Yeah, it's also disappointing, and a lot of people are mad at Matt Sundin. And I remember at the time, I, he didn't want to go. He didn't want to leave the Leafs. They wanted him to trade it to waive his no trade contract, and he refused. And then in the summer, he wound up not re-signing with the Leafs. And so many people are mad because he did that. But I don't think he ever wanted to leave the Leafs. I think he was just got really mad and insulted that the Leafs didn't want him. He would have retired here for sure. But so many people are mad that he didn't waive his no trade and all that, and then he wound up leaving. But he didn't want to leave. The Leafs didn't want him. And so he did it on his own terms. Kind of, Marner did the same thing, but Marner didn't want to be. I don't. But that's a different thing, because Sundin wanted to be here. I don't think. I don't know. I don't think Marner wanted to be here. Like, he talked like he didn't want to be here. So I don't know how, because you get a lot of people still arguing. Oh yeah, he wanted to be here. It's just like the fans, blaming the fans or whatever. He didn't sound like he wanted to be here. Yeah, because when you see Matt Sundin now interviewed on TV and all that, he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's not a Vancouver Canuck. Like, That's his team. He didn't want to leave. And he didn't really, I don't think he wanted to rebuild either. Like, I think he wanted the Leafs to keep, trying. Because the rebuild, they didn't even rebuild. Like, oh, they finally rebuilt when they tanked in the 2015 2016 season. Finally, they tanked. I got Austin Matthews. Yeah. And, and so many times, like with Austin Matthews, they say, oh, to find the right wingers to get them going, you need, or with Morgan Riley, you need the right defense partner to get them going. And you never needed, you could put anybody on the wings with Matt Sundin. Nobody had to get him going. He made the other players better. And that's true with guys like Sidney Crosby. You know, they don't have to find players to get them going. They get the wingers going. But those teams were pretty good though. Back when they had Roberts and Tucker and Sundin, and they had like Curtis Joseph and net, Ned Belfort. But I was more of a Curtis Joseph fan. Curtis Joseph's one of my all-time favorite goalies. I think I put Curtis Joe like personal favorite goalies. I think I would put well, as far as Leaf goalies, personal favorite Leafs goalies, I would like Johnny Bauer, Mike Palmateer, and Curtis Joseph. Are my three all-time favorites. But as far as just goalies in general, that I could make a huge like that. I have like a bunch of different goalies. Like when I was younger, I thought we were great goalies. Like Jacques Plante, Bernie Parent. Yeah, for about 2 years he looked checked out. Michelli's been playing fantastic lately. He's finally the acquisitions are finally starting to play good, but it's hopefully Dakota Joshua is going to be okay. He still hasn't been on the ice or anything. He had a kidney laceration. It's pretty scary. Hopefully he recovers okay and back to at least by the playoffs. I think this is my up to my fourth live stream now. I did the one 2 years ago and never did another one, and now I've done three this year. Maybe once I've done about 10 or 20, maybe I'll get sort of maybe feel better, more comfortable at it. The only problem is I'm so absent-minded that I'm not really like, well, I'm sort of a resource for knowledge in some ways, but in other ways I'm so foggy that I don't remember what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. And now, like, if it's now if I was like if you helped me out with it because I thank you because if I probably wouldn't have continued like if I was just here by myself talking by myself. I'm not sure how much of the game I could do. And there were times, like other times where we got a bunch of people. Like last time was pretty good actually. Had like a few different people join in. I don't know if I should post it again. Like that's what happened the other time. I don't know if it's because it was on a Saturday or if it was because or it wasn't on a Saturday. I think it was New Year's Day or something. Yeah, I think it was New Year's Day. So I don't know if that's why like a lot of people were home or if it's because I posted it. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people show up like trolls, like the troll. I drink coffee. This is coffee. Hopefully, like the caffeine will sharpen things up a bit. Yeah, I know. I like in the comments, people. It's funny at times. Sometimes it's funny the trolls. Like if somebody's just you know kind of making fun of the Leafs. Like sometimes they say stuff that's funny that I do find funny. But some people like take it so seriously. They're just absolute jerks. Like say you know, like I take it serious. We take it. Well, you take the Leafs seriously. I take the Leafs seriously. But I can't picture myself going on to other teams' fans' YouTube channel and just you know, I don't even bother watching other teams' YouTube channels. That's what I don't get is why are they watching Leafs videos? If they hate the Leafs, why are they watching Leafs videos? Yeah, he is doing it like just to troll the Leafs, but then but then I heard that it was actually. So I don't know if that's true or not. It seemed like it was true that he was a Leafs fan growing up. So it's possible he was a Leafs fan growing up, but now that's just his personality. Is he's not just a rat on the ice. He trolls off the ice too. I can't wait to the playoffs this year. I think to me it's like I I assume like the Leafs are going to be in there. Like I don't even think like I hardly think. I hope the Leafs make the playoffs. Like I keep just taking it for granted they're going to be in the playoffs. It's just how they're going to do. I Oh, I set in hockey 16. I'm watching doing a live Leafs game again. If I keep practicing, maybe one of these days I'll be good at this. Yeah, I don't know what the Leafs have traded it basically every. There's not much left to trade except for Easton Cowan, and even if they were to trade a first round pick, so they don't have their next first round picks not till 2028. Lots of people in Canada watch, but I don't really watch a ton of football though. But but oh, more see edits or productions. How's it going? Yeah, I think a lot of people. I'm not so. I don't watch a ton of football though. But a lot of people watch, and they're watching the NFL now. Like if I watched the NFL, I'd be a Bills fan. A lot of people from Toronto are because Buffalo's not far from here, and a lot of people go to Buffalo Bills games. And the power play has been way better lately. Well, you were right, Morrissey production. I looked it up. At Sunset Speedway, they are closing it, which is pretty sad for me. I'll miss it. Even though I haven't been there in decades, I'll miss it. Yeah, I watch. That's the really the only football I watch too, but I'm a bandwagon Argos fan. I only watch them when like they're in the play, in the Grey Cup or something. I used to watch when I was younger. I used to really be into watching the Argos. But I don't know if it's because of the YouTube channel or well, I've always been like above anything, like a hockey fan above anything. But I used to be into other sports too. But I don't know if it's because of the YouTube channel or what it is. But all I do is focus on the Leafs now. It's not enough time to think about other stuff. Like I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do for videos and or and I chat with like in the comments and all that with people on my channel and on other channels. Oh, they're playing it. Well, like I like to see the Bills, but the Bills deserve to finally win. Have the Jacksonville Jaguars won the Super Bowl very many times? Like the Bills have never won it. I don't know. Like somehow Buffalo and Toronto, like they're not far from each other, and so many similarities as far as the teams in recent years. At least they're going on the power play again. Oh, I've never even been to one. That's even worse. I think I mentioned it last time, but like Southern Hockey, he's a Leafs fan in Louisiana, and he just started playing hockey. He started off on rollerblades, and now he's in a hockey league. He's actually playing hockey. It's pretty cool. Leafs fans are everywhere, especially in Buffalo and Ottawa. That's the thing, like Sabres fans don't like Leafs fans because like the 3/4 of the building is Leafs fans when the Leafs play there. Like literally, about 75% Leafs fans when the Leafs play there. But but they but but they have no problem with like people from Toronto or because they go to the Bills games and all that, and they go to like those tailgate parties and all that. Bills fans from because there's it's like close to 8 million people. The Greater Toronto Hamilton area, something like close to 8 million people or something. So a lot of people, a lot of like people from the Toronto area go to like Buffalo. Yeah, yeah, because even like Columbus and Detroit, well, in Detroit they have that chant where that you hear the chant when the Leafs play there. You hear the chant, "Let's go Red Wings, go Leafs, go! Let's go Red Wings, go Leafs, go!" When the Leafs play in Detroit. And Columbus also winds up, but everywhere, every building, the NHL winds up with Leafs fans. Lots of Leafs fans. And Nick Robertson's been playing fantastic lately. And there's a rumor that they're trying to get his brother. The Leafs are trying to get his brother, Jason, because they said that this is like brother's last year, like in Dallas, like his contract, and the contract negotiations haven't gone well so far. They said, and he might not stay in Dallas. So there's rumors that he'd like to come here and play on the same team with his brother. That'd be something because he's in the top 10 in goal scoring. He was, but he didn't get. Oh, you see James Reimer? Did you see James Reimer? He was starting goalie. No, I didn't watch much of that. I didn't. But James Reimer, when he was here, he was really good. But like the first time. But then now he's like over the hill and all that. Like there's not really like if they're going like with Wall and Hill to be like they don't need James Reimer. Like James Reimer's not anywhere close to either of those goalies. But he had a lot of fans when he was here. Like, a lot of people liked him. But he was good when he way back over 10 years ago. I'm always surprised when I hear that he's still playing. Yeah, there's a lot of Leafs fans in Sweden. But that goes back to like Salming. That goes back to Börje Salming. Then Matt Sundin and now William Nylander. The Leafs have been playing so good lately, and Nylander hasn't been in the lineup. Almost forgot about him. It's a close game. I don't know. I have a feeling there's going to be more cheers. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a standing ovation. Like they're gonna show a highlight thing, and everybody's it's gonna bring back all these memories, and he'll get a standing ovation. I think the like on social media, there's sort of a small sort of group of people that are really mean, and I think that so, but I think the majority of Leafs fans are like, even if they're happy, he wanted to go, so they're happy that he left, whatever. I think the majority of Leafs fans won't boo him. I think it's just that real core of real jerks. But that's what made me mad, because he, like, that core of jerks, like if you would listen to Mark, like the way he talks, like you'd think that all Leafs fans are like that. Oh, the referee took a flip. Look, he got hurt. But if you listen to Marner, it makes it sound like, Leafs fans are, but it's just like a small amount of fans that are. Yeah, I wish. I guess they're just gonna keep it close checking and hope for the win. Austin Matthews has been doing that toe drag release again. I don't know where it went for like a year and a half, but I've noticed he just did it again there. Yeah. Well, they got like now. I don't know what happened to them in the playoffs. They do have a bit of an attitude change, I think, this year. Like when Lawton got pushed into the boards, like he was real. Like where was that kind of like all the stuff that was happening in the playoffs, and there was like hardly any response. So they have guys that are going to respond now. It seems like even though he was there, but wasn't a Leaf for that long. Like now he's getting used to being a Leaf. Lawton. I think they're going to have more of an edge this year in the playoffs. And they've been through a lot of adversity with all the injuries and all that, and then with the losing, they kept hearing about it and everything. I think they're gonna have like thicker skin once the playoffs come. I think like other years, like you hear about like the fans, the media, but I think now the way they're developing, I think they're gonna have thicker skin. Like they don't care what anybody says, just because of all the turmoil. Yeah, I can't figure Morgan Riley out. What happened to him? Like, is it Berube's style? Because since Berube's been the coach, that he really started to. A fan got hit. Oh, she's laughing. So she seems okay. Oh, she took the puck, and her daughter got the puck. Oh, yeah, it seems like she'll have a bruise there, but that's about it. Fortunately, but everything they built now, it's where it's pretty hard to get hit by a direct shot nowadays. The way they have the netting and the high glass and everything, they protect the fans pretty good now. Oh, like a lot of people don't like the delay a game rule where you shoot the puck out and into the crowd. You get a penalty, and it's to discourage shooting the puck. But I think that rule came in after there was that girl got hit by a puck. You know, I think that's when they brought the rule in. I think it was in Florida or something. I'm trying to remember. I hit the stick. Hit the defenseman's stick. I have a remote. I bought a new light and I have a remote to. Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it has to do with Berube, like that defensive style. Maybe he just can't play defensive hockey, which isn't good for a defenseman. That's not a good look on a defenseman. It doesn't like defensive hockey. That would explain it. But the way the Leafs play, like Carberlay, he probably would have struggled too under Berube's system. Boris Salming wouldn't. Boris Salming could play for any system, and he wouldn't, he would do it, and he wouldn't. He was like the team first, no matter what. Like everybody, and he was like everybody get on board. You know, he had the perfect attitude. He would do whatever it takes, and play whatever style, and he wouldn't. Well, he played under. There's hasn't been. I don't think there's been a more defensive coach in history than Roger Neilson, and that was Salming's best years when Roger Neilson was the coach. Captain Video. He was the one who really pioneered the use of the video, using the video to analyze games back in the 70s. Yeah, yeah, it was never, but still, like I said, Salming did it. His best years, and Sittler, and McDonald, all their best years were under Roger Neilson, and they loved Roger Neilson. It was actually Harold Ballard used to complain about the defensive hockey. The defensive hockey was getting them wins. The playoff style hockey. It was actually Harold Ballard that didn't like it. He wanted something more exciting. But all that guy did was interfere with everything. I changed it up. You see, I changed up the. Got the old, the vintage sweater or jersey. Well, now they're jerseys. Back then they were sweaters. Rick Vive is one of the most underrated Leafs to me. Yeah, but Rick Vive, he had some like struggles off the ice. That like. So I think that's a lot of why he. Because I've seen shows where he talked about it, because he was having some drinking issues off the ice, and kind of really because I've seen him like on where it was him, it was like actually talking about it on podcasts and things. So I think, and some of the stuff that, you know, I don't know. I think it kind of tarnished his image. That the way, like, I don't know, the way his things were going for him. I don't know how to put it. I think his image got tarnished. Yeah, it's this part I sort of. I'm not in the center anymore. I'm trying to get in the center. But yeah, like this kind of part is the part that I'm like making the videos and making the and this kind of setup, like the like that part I'm okay at. It's like appearing on camera, I feel uncomfortable. There's such a delay on here. I wind up watching myself. I was watching myself trying to center myself, and because of the delay, oh, if I switch, oh yeah, here, okay. If I do it right in the software, then it's instantaneous. I could see it. But then if I watch it on YouTube Studio, then I see the delay that everybody else is seeing. That throws me off. But I use a program called OBS Studio to kind of do all these layers, with the background and the scoreboard is actually from NHL Game Center, and I go to the web page. You enter in the web page, and I crop it so it's just the scoreboard, and then I overlay it. Uh, yeah, but when Lindros played for the Leafs, he wasn't. He was basically his career was over. He wasn't. But when he was with the Flyers, he was like also where one of these players, he if he could have kept going, he would have been a legend because he was just there weren't he was like such a good goal scorer and power forward like there uh like I don't even know like I can't think of anybody to compare him to today. He was like one of the best goal scorers in the league, but he was a power forward like I don't know, like a huge big power forward and goal scorer. There just aren't that many players like him. But he kept getting concussions, kept getting knocked out. But he laid some huge hits. And so he laid like huge hits and he would get it back. And he wound up with concussion issues. He had to retire. And there in London, Ontario, there's a hospital there where they have like a whole wing or something like that or a big part of it or something specializing in concussions, and it's like named after Eric Lindros. He like donated to like this concussion uh, thing in the hospital there in London, Ontario. Yeah, yeah, he would have gone. What a team that was! They had because they kept finishing at the bottom, and so they had. Well, they drafted Lindros didn't want to go. Matt Sundin, Joe Sakic. Uh, there's like a whole list of players that they and that was before the salary cap. So if you finish down at the bottom every year and you draft all these stars, there's not we're all gonna get hit by the cap. You know, you could make a whole sky's the limit. But then they wound up moving to Colorado. I'd like to see Quebec get a team again. Yeah, he didn't play long for the Leafs. I think he got injured again and didn't finish. Who knows though? Because you don't know who he's going to be replaced by. like like you don't know if like the person that replaces him is gonna put a team there either. You know, because like ultimately it's the owners that kind of like Bettman works for the owners, and they vote like he just it was different. Like in the old day, like Clarence Campbell was the president of the NHL. John Ziegler was the president of the NHL, and they were had more authority to do whatever they wanted. But then with Bettman, they somehow made him the commissioner, and the way that it changed is the commissioner somehow listens more to the owners. Like he's a lot of it, the owners vote and does what the owners want. Yeah. Well, it's time for a change anyway. I'm getting tired of them. The thing that bugs me the most is how are the Leafs, since George Soros ahead of player safety, how are the Leafs the most uh, team with the most suspensions? And like it seems like any little thing a Leaf does will get a suspension, and then they do it on other teams and there's no suspension. It'd be like a fine. On do the how do the teams who play like because like the Leafs also have one of the least amount. The teams that play the Leafs, like the Leafs are at the bottom, have every year close to the bottom of teams that get the amount of power plays they get. Like the teams they play don't get penalties. And how could that be where like a skilled team, because like when you look like McDavid or whatever, he draws so many penalties. So how does like when they had Marner and and now Matthews and all that, like a skilled team, they don't draw penalties. Like they're always at the bottom of the league for drawing penalties, and they're always at the top of the league for getting suspensions. Right at the top of the league for getting suspensions. And you look at teams like the Panthers and all that, and Vegas, and the Bruins. But the Leafs have got, since Soros has been head of player safety, the Leafs are the most suspended team. So stuff like that does not make sense. Yeah, I don't know if he still has a thing against the Leafs because of what happened with Colton Orr. Colton Orr basically ended his career, and he was like Eros was playing for the Habs. Colton Orr was playing for the Leafs, and Colton Orr basically ended his career. So I don't know if he would hold that against I could see where he would hold that against Colton Orr. I don't see how he would hold that against the Leafs. Like to this day, it's like different owners and different everything, different players, different management. It's not the same team. Yeah, I don't know if it is, because it doesn't make sense that he would hold that against the Leafs because of Colton Orr. Do you know of that incident? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where Colton Orr knocked him out, pretty much ended his career. Well, you could always look. I think they even have replays of it. It was not. It was not very pleasant. I don't know. It's not. Maybe it's not worth watching. He knocked him out cold. It was not very. It wasn't pleasant to see. Yeah, I don't know what it could be. And then I've heard. I think on Steve Dangle's talked about it, and they've talked about it on Leafs Digest, where Paris has some sort of a connection to the Florida Panthers too. I don't remember what it was. And so does Colin Campbell. They were saying, but I don't remember what connection. Because Steve Dangle and on Leafs Digest they talk about that quite a bit. That what the Leafs, the way they're seem to be singled out for all this stuff. Yeah, it's no way. Like if like when Scott Laughton was hit from behind, if that was a Leaf, it would be a 1 game suspension. With Scott Laughton, the ref had some excuse like, "Oh, you knew he was coming." That's what the ref told him. He said you knew he was coming, but it doesn't matter if he knew he was coming. The guy there wasn't any time to do anything, and he put him right in the boards from behind. It was an illegal hit. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he knew he was coming. It was an illegal hit. He hit him from behind. They don't make those kind of excuses. Like they would have just suspended if it was a Leaf did it. And what about the Stallers last year in the playoffs with Bennett? Nothing. Not even a penalty. No suspension. Like they should have, even though the ref didn't see it, they should have looked at it. It was a deliberate hit to the head, and nothing. And even like a couple years ago, that was when the Leafs were trying to come back in the series when they played the Panthers. And Gudas was holding the defenseman's stick in overtime, the overtime goal that won it. I forget if it was the defenseman's stick, or it might have been Yarncrocs' stick. Come to think of it. I don't remember. But anyways, Gudas was holding the guy's stick, and then they scored in overtime. The series was over when they were trying to come back. Oh, Grabenkin playing for the Flyers. He just got hit with the puck. He wasn't even. But at least if he got penalized for it, or a suspension, at least one game or something. So they could do whatever they want. And the Leafs can't do anything. Probably. It probably would have been. Probably would have got 2 or 3 games. At least. But what could he do? The Leafs have to keep playing. Like, even with all that, like, they could. Once they get into the playoffs, I think they're going to go on a roll. I still have confidence in this team. Like, I don't see how. Like, the only one, like, Marner, isn't there. But I don't see how that team could go from the way they were last year to being so bad this year. Like, it was still in there. They just had to execute. And that's what they're doing now. And the new players are finally getting used to playing for the Leafs. That was a big part of it too, because it was changes. They made changes. Well, Marner, and then they brought in other players. So there's a lot of changes. A lot of people getting used to stuff, and then the injuries further made, where people were trying to get used to things. I can't remember either. That's weird. Yeah, I wonder what it was. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe that's the thing. Players don't get suspended if they do whatever they want to the Leafs, and they don't get suspended. Hopefully, they don't get shut out very often. So you think they could at least going to tie this up. They tie it up and goes to overtime. when Matthews was in with the puck again, it kind of reminds me of the way he used to be now. He toe drags it and rips it the way he used to. Yeah, he was, and he. I think, and there was one time he was cross-checked by somebody, and it was a bad cross-check. It was like a cross-check from behind, and he got a penalty for embellishing. But he wasn't embellishing. Well, when Bunting there, it was really bad. The referees hated Bunting. Like, that was beyond the Leafs. That was like the refs and Bunting. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like Bunting, I was kind of, because I didn't mind. I was kind of glad that was when they didn't re-sign him or whatever happened to him, because it got to the point where I think he was a distraction because the refs, the officials hated him so much. And Kadri's another guy that gets suspended so much. Like he used to get they kept suspending him for stuff that, another, players got away with. Yeah, it'd be more entertaining if they get a goal, if the Leafs score a goal. Not any highlights from this game so far. So far, there's no videos to make. But whether the game's entertaining or not, I watch every single Leaf game. you know, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, entertaining's better. Like, it's hard to follow that up. That one against Florida, that was fantastic. That was a fantastic game. And I think the one against Winnipeg was good too. That was the one I did that stream. I think during the Winnipeg one, that was a good game. I don't know. I guess it was up in the gloves. Well, they just killed the penalty off, and then lots of time left. Yeah, yeah, it did help. I don't know. I don't know exactly why. Like firing an assistant coach had that much of an impact. Like what he was doing on the power play. Yeah, just have to kill it off and then keep it 0-0. And now is the time they could use a player like Nylander to, come up with the big goal. Or like Matthews. Well, lots of players on the team could do it, but Nylander, moments like this, a lot of times he would come up big, would get the big goal. Yeah, I hope he's back soon. He didn't have a lot of injuries over his career, but all the Leafs seem to be getting injuries this year. It's only like a few players that have played every game. I think Tavares has played every game. Maybe he should have a bit of a break because he's playing. Yeah, but they won't sit. They're not going to make him a healthy scratch. So so that's not going to happen then. But oh man, oh yeah, I don't know if they did or not. The Leafs don't seem to think so. I don't know. Well, we're going to see it on the replay. You can't see where the puck is. That's another thing. Like with the like in the playoffs, there was like with the Leafs, it looks like it was in. I'm trying to remember who that was. Bobrovsky, or was it a couple of years ago? Vasilevsky. Yeah, I don't see it go in either. You can't see it go if they don't have any definitive whatever view of it. Yeah, they can't overrule it from what they see there because Hildeby's on top of it wherever it is. You can't see where it is. You can't see where that is. No way. No way, that's it. Because even if it's in, there's no way you can't see that it's in. You can't say it's in if you don't see it actually in. No way that's in. No goal. That's no goal. Well, in some ways it's good it's taken this long. It means they can't see that it's in. They're trying to figure out, look to see see if it's in, and they can't see it. It's in. So there's no way it's going to count. I knew it was that was no way that was in. Another penalty coming? Oh man. Oh man. Yep, 5-on-3. Hildeby's been playing great. Like, yeah, it's one area where the Leafs have a lot of depth, especially if Stallers could ever. When you think of it, when you think of how well Hildeby's playing, if Stallers comes back, and plays somewhat like he did last year, Hildeby will wind up going back to the Marlies. So the Leafs have a ton of depth in that. And that's good for the playoffs because you don't know. The Leafs always wind up with injuries, goaltending injuries in the playoffs lately. Yeah, I think so too. Like a lot of people, Ed Belfour had a lot of fans, but I don't know for some reason. I was way more of a fan of Curtis Joseph. Curtis Joseph, in a lot of ways, reminded me of Mike Palmateer. Johnny Bower is just a legend. But Johnny Bauer didn't. He was like an old time stand up goalie. Mike Palmateer and Curtis Joseph, they were like maniacs, like spectacular saves. Especially Palmateer, man. Yeah, there was something about Eric Anderson I never trusted. Like I always felt like he's gonna let in that squeaker. And he still does it. Like the Leafs play Carolina, he still lets in those soft goals. Like he looks like a fantastic goalie for you know 99% of the game, but then just that. Oh yeah, Scott Laughton. Man, he's been playing fantastic lately. He's he's turning into a real good player for the Leafs. The Leafs are going to be on fire in the playoffs. Oh yeah, yeah. What a beauty. Short-handed, ripped it bar down. Short-handed. Oh, Habs guy's back. That's okay. I got some Habs fans here. It's okay. Oh, a second. My nose is my nose is running. I hope you don't really see. I hope I'm not like grossing people out here. Uh, yeah, the Leafs hardly ever get shut out. Are you watching the game, Habs guy? Maybe Habs guy's not there anymore. Was there ever a Leafs player that I didn't like? Oh, it's probably been tons. I can't think of right now who. I don't know. I'm sure. I can't think of anybody right now. But I'm sure there was. Usually they're on the team, so I'm sure if I kept thinking about it, I'm sure you know, and usually it would be somebody like they're a Leaf, but oh yeah, there is one. There is one. I don't know if I should say it. Yeah, even Justin Hall, I didn't. He irritated me, but I didn't dislike him. Yeah, there's one Leaf that I clearly know that I did to this day, and I'm glad he doesn't do alumni stuff and all that. Cause I don't think you could guess who it is. You might be able to guess who it is, but there's one Leaf that I don't like. The one that's responsible for Salute Gate. Do you remember Salute Gate? That's the one. That's the one. The worst captain in Leafs history, in my opinion. And maybe it's not even in my opinion. Maybe it's like the truth. Dion Phaneuf, the orchestrator of Salute Gate. But even before Salute Gate, I didn't like him. He just wasn't. He didn't seem to want to like play for the Leafs. I don't think he ever liked the Leafs. And Brian Burke made him captain and all that, and he was a horrible captain. Yeah, Dion Phaneuf is my least favorite that I could think of. He's the only one that came to mind as the least favorite Leaf. So he must be my least favorite Leaf of all time. The team absolutely stank. And they would throw like the fans would throw jerseys on the ice, as some Leaf fans do when the team absolutely stinks. And then they finally win a game, and at the end of the game, because they always, all the players went to the middle and saluted the fans. So they finally win a game, and they didn't salute the fans because of the few fans that throw jerseys on the ice and all that. So when they finally win a game, they just went off the ice, and they were laughing, but amongst themselves, like even Kessel was laughing. But Dion Phaneuf was the captain, and there was like all kinds of things he did that just seemed like he didn't want to be here and he didn't like it here. But Brian Burke thought he was a good player to get and made him the captain, and he never seemed to want to be here. And he doesn't have anything to do with the team anymore. Like he would never remember him as an ex-Leaf captain. Like you think of Sundin and Sittler and all these guys. But where's Dion Phaneuf? He doesn't want to even come back here. He doesn't want anything to do with Toronto. Toronto doesn't want anything to do with him. He later said that with the Salute Gate, like after he retired, he said Salute Gate was like the biggest mistake he made, and he wouldn't do it again. Well, it's easy for him to say afterwards. He like completely snubbed the fans. Yeah, but Phil, the Leafs gave up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick to Boston. Like the Leafs wanted a rebuild, like the same way they wanted a rebuild when they got Matthews. They wanted to rebuild. And then Brian Burke gave up 2 first-round picks for Phil Kessel, and the Bruins didn't want the Bruins. Like everybody says, oh yeah, Phil Kessel. The Leafs when the Leafs let Phil Kessel go, and then he won. He won like the Stanley Cups elsewhere. Like what did he win? He won like 1 or 2 in Pittsburgh, I forget, and then he won in Vegas. So they say, oh, like the Leafs let Phil Kessel go, and then he won elsewhere. But the thing that you don't ever hear anybody say is the Bruins traded him for 2 first-round picks, and they won the Stanley Cup with after they traded Kessel. So they won the Stanley Cup because they traded. One of the reasons because they traded Kessel, and the fans, because Kessel didn't want to play it because he said the fans were mean to him in Boston too. So he didn't want to. So he wanted out of Boston. So because he wanted out of Boston, whenever the Leafs went to Boston, the fans would chant and thank you Kessel, because they won the Stanley Cup without him. So the Boston fans would chant thank you Kessel for leaving, and then they won the Stanley Cup. People forget that. They say, oh yeah, he left the Leafs and won the Stanley Cup. Well, he left the Bruins, and the Bruins won the Stanley Cup because he left, or one of the reasons. Yeah. So a lot of people were right off the bat, there was negativity. Oh, why did you 2 first-round picks to Boston for Kessel when the fans wanted to rebuild? So there was like hostility right at the start, and it just was, and it always just followed him that they gave up 2 first-round picks for this guy, and they should have rebuilt the team because the team stinks. That would be great. And hopefully it's a real highlight, a great highlight goal. Oh no. Oh, his mask is off. That's another thing. They don't. The Leafs player, the goalie's mask is off, and they don't blow the whistle. (19-1) on face-offs. One of the best ever face-off performances. Oh no. Oh yeah, what a save! What a save by Hildeby. Oh, man. He blew a tire. Michelli blew a tire. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. They can't get the puck back. Oh, man. Philadelphia's just skating around with the puck. They can't, at least can't get it back. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, here we go. Easton Cowan, breakaway. Oh. 2-on-1 now. Flyers. Oh. Oh, man, no. Oh. Oh, here we go. 2-on-1 Leafs now. Tavares. Back. Yeah! What a beauty. Easton Cowan. Beauty. And the Leafs win. The Leafs win. Beauty. His first overtime winner. The Leafs win. Well, that made up for the game being so boring before this. Yeah. Like it was so those like it was the game was so slow there for like about 2 periods, and then everything came to life in the third period. And we're in overtime. It turned into a fantastic game. I think that's 3 games in a row that I did that where the Leafs was pretty where they won and it was like exciting games. Maybe they win when I stream them. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. When you go see them play the Canucks Saturday. Okay, I guess I'll go now. That was what a game. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you too. It's like we watched the game together. I'm not that great a streamer, but I kind of I watched the game was we watched the game together, so that's pretty good. So okay, so I'll see you. Well, not see you. Talk to you soon. And we'll do another one of these. Go Leafs.